Admiral Jiho watched the stars through the massive windows of Lunar Station. The space headquarters floated peacefully above Earth's moon, but today would change everything. His coffee grew cold in his hands as the emergency alarm echoed through the corridors. "Sir, priority transmission coming in," called Lieutenant Donghyun from the communications deck. "It's from the Galactic Coalition." Jiho set down his cup and walked to the central hologram projector. The air shimmered, and suddenly a towering reptilian figure appeared before him. The creature's scales glistened dark green under the station's lights, and its yellow eyes burned with barely contained fury. "I am Ambassador Vexithara of the Sirathi Empire," the alien hissed, its forked tongue flicking between razor-sharp teeth. "I speak for the 8-species coalition that rules this galaxy." Captain Minji stepped closer to Jiho, her hand resting on her sidearm. She had seen these aliens before during the failed peace talks 3 years ago. Back then, they seemed curious about humanity. Now they looked ready for war. "Humans of Earth," Vexithara continued, its voice growing louder with each word. "Your species has spread across 17 star systems like a virus. In just 200 years, you have claimed worlds that took us millennia to explore. This ends today." The hologram flickered, showing images of human colonies across the galaxy. New Sol on Kepler 442b, where families grew crops under alien suns. Busan mining station in the asteroid belt of Wolf 359, where workers extracted rare metals. Children playing in the domed cities of Proxima Centauri, breathing recycled air, but dreaming of endless possibilities. "You have 72 hours, the alien ambassador declared. "Abandon every colony, destroy your fleets, return to your single world, and accept coalition oversight. Refuse, and we will burn every human settlement to ash." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Jiho stared at the empty space where the hologram had been, his mind racing through possibilities. Around him, dozens of officers waited for orders. "Sir," Captain Minji whispered, "our long-range sensors are picking up massive fleet movements. The coalition isn't bluffing. They have over 10,000 ships moving toward our borders." Jiho closed his eyes for a moment, remembering the day 5 years ago when everything went wrong. First contact with the Sirathi had seemed like humanity's greatest achievement. The aliens appeared friendly, even impressed by human technology and culture. But as more species joined the coalition, attitudes changed. They began to see humanity's rapid expansion as a threat. "They're afraid of us," Jiho said quietly. "We went from a single planet to 43 worlds in 2 centuries. No other species has ever expanded that fast. But we're explorers, not conquerors," protested Commander Young-ho from the tactical station. "We've never attacked another species. Every world we settled was uninhabited." "That doesn't matter to them," Jiho replied. "They see how quickly we adapt, how we turn hostile worlds into homes. They think we're planning to take over the galaxy." Alarms began blaring throughout Lunar Station as sensors detected coalition scout ships at the edge of the solar system. The war that humanity had hoped to avoid was now inevitable. "All stations, battle alert," Jiho commanded. "Patch me through to every human settlement in the galaxy, every colony, every ship, every outpost. Use all frequencies, all channels." The Kai. Communications officer's fingers flew over his controls. "Channel open, sir. You're broadcasting to all 43 worlds." Jiho stepped in front of the main camera, his expression grim but determined. Across human space, families gathered around screens in their homes. Miners stopped their work to listen. Ship's crews huddled around communication consoles. Children in classrooms fell silent as their teachers activated the emergency broadcast system. "Citizens of humanity," Jiho began, his voice carrying to the farthest human outpost. 5 years ago, we reached out to the stars in friendship. We shared our culture, our science, our dreams of a peaceful future among the stars. He paused, letting his words sink in across dozens of worlds. "Today, the Galactic Coalition has delivered an ultimatum. They demand we abandon everything we've built. They want us to destroy our ships, surrender our freedom, and return to being prisoners on a single world." On New Sol, farmers looked up from their fields toward the alien ships gathering in the distance. On Taiyang Station, families held each other tighter. In the asteroid mining colonies, workers began checking the weapons they had hoped never to use. To the Galactic Coalition, Jiho continued, his voice growing colder, you came to us, speaking of peace and cooperation. But when we refused to bow down and accept your authority, you showed your true nature. You call us aggressive while massing 10,000 ships at our borders. You speak of our rapid expansion while ignoring that every world we settled was empty. Every system we explored was unclaimed. He stepped closer to the camera, and his next words would be remembered throughout human history. You want to know what makes humans dangerous? It's not our weapons or our ships. It's that we never give up. We survived ice ages, plagues, and countless wars on our homeworld. We turned a planet that tried to kill us every day into our launching pad to the stars. The transmission reached human deep space patrols, hidden research stations, and secret military facilities that the Coalition didn't even know existed. Across human space, ancient defense protocols activated. Weapons systems came online. Hidden shipyards began producing vessels designed specifically to fight alien technology. You've chosen war, Jiho concluded. Now you'll learn how the children of Earth fight for their survival. The transmission ended, but its effects rippled across the galaxy instantly. War was no longer coming. It had already begun. The first Coalition ships appeared in the dawn sky above New Busan like dark storm clouds. Lieutenant Kwang Su stood on the observation deck of the colony's command center, watching dozens of alien dropships descend through the orange atmosphere. The peaceful farming world had never seen war, but today that would change forever. All units, this is Kwang Su. He spoke into his communicator, his voice steady despite the fear in his chest. The enemy is landing in sectors 7 through 12. Remember your training. Protect your families. Below in the valley, the massive Sirathi transport ships touched down with thunderous roars that shook the ground for kilometers. Their hulls gleamed like polished metal, covered in strange alien symbols that seemed to pulse with their own light. Ramps lowered with mechanical precision and outpoured hundreds of reptilian warriors. The Sirathi soldiers moved in perfect formation, their plasma rifles glowing blue in the morning light. They wore advanced battle armor that could stop most human weapons, and their tactical displays showed them exactly where every human building stood. This should have been an easy victory against simple farmers and miners. But the Coalition had made a crucial mistake. They thought they were attacking helpless civilians. Mining charges ready, Kwang Su shouted as he watched the aliens advance. Throughout the valley, colonists emerged from hidden bunkers and concealed positions. These weren't just farmers anymore. They were humans fighting for their homes. Old Park Jiseok, who had spent 30 years growing hybrid corn in the alien soil, now crouched behind a rocky outcrop with a modified fusion cutter in his hands. The tool that once helped him clear stumps from his fields now fired concentrated energy beams, capable of melting through Sirathi armor. For my grandchildren, he whispered, taking aim at the approaching aliens. The battle erupted across the valley, as humans struck from every direction. Construction mechs that normally moved earth and rocks now charged into alien formations, their massive arms crushing enemy soldiers. Farming vehicles became mobile weapons platforms, their cargo beds filled with colonists firing improvised weapons. Young Minji, barely 16 years old, sat in her family's barn, operating a mining drone through her tablet. The small robot, originally designed to search for mineral deposits, now carried explosive charges toward enemy positions. Her hands shook as she guided it through the chaos, but her determination never wavered. The Sirathi commander, Veltanos, watched in growing horror as his veteran troops fell to these supposed civilians. His tactical computer had predicted victory in 2 hours. Now 3 hours later, he had lost half his forces to farmers using mining equipment as weapons. How is this possible? He hissed to his aide, his reptilian features twisted in confusion. These are not soldiers. They are agricultural workers and industrial laborers. But the humans fought with a desperation and creativity the aliens had never encountered. They used their knowledge of the terrain to launch ambushes from underground irrigation tunnels. They rigged farm machinery to explode when aliens tried to use them as cover. Even the children participated, using toy drones to scout enemy positions and relay information to the adult fighters. When Veltanos realized his ground forces were being systematically destroyed, he made a fateful decision. "Order the orbital bombardment," he commanded. "Burn this entire valley to ash." High above the planet, Coalition warships began charging their plasma cannons. The energy weapons could vaporize entire city blocks, and the aliens saw no other way to claim victory. But they had forgotten about the human ships hiding in the asteroid field at the edge of the system. Captain Do-hyun had been waiting in the cold vacuum of space for 3 months, his destroyer squadron concealed among the tumbling rocks. His ships looked like ordinary mining vessels from the outside, but hidden beneath their industrial hulls were weapons designed specifically to fight alien technology. "Contact," reported his sensor officer Yong-soo. "Coalition fleet in orbit. Charging bombardment weapons." Do-hyun smiled grimly. "All ships, this is Do-hyun. Our families are down there. Light them up." The hidden human fleet burst from the asteroid field like hunters emerging from tall grass. Their stealth systems had kept them invisible until now, and the Coalition ships were completely unprepared for the attack. Human missiles designed to exploit weaknesses in alien shield technology struck the enemy vessels before they could react. The space battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Coalition ships were larger and more heavily armed, but the human vessels fought with a coordination born from months of practice. They used the asteroids as cover, striking from multiple directions in patterns that confused the alien tactical computers. Commander Hairan, piloting the destroyer Seoul's Fury, dove her ship through a gap between 2 Coalition cruisers, her weapons blazing. "Take that, you oversized lizards," she shouted as her torpedoes punched through enemy armor. The battle raged for 6 hours across the star system. Human ships sacrificed themselves to take down larger enemy vessels. The destroyer New Hope rammed directly into a Coalition flagship, its Captain Jung-ho broadcasting his final message, "For humanity," as both ships exploded in a brilliant flash of light. When the smoke cleared, the Coalition assault fleet was destroyed. Not a single alien ship remained to threaten the colonists below. Similar victories occurred at Taeyang Station and the mining World Seongmin, where human defenders used industrial equipment and hidden weapons to crush alien invasion forces. News of the defeat sent shockwaves through Coalition space. Supreme General Kex Mara stared at the battle reports in his command center, his alien features contorted with disbelief. "Impossible," he muttered. "Our scouts reported these were agricultural and mining colonies. How did civilians destroy 3 assault fleets?" His aide, an insectoid creature from the Zephyrian hive, clicked nervously. "Sir, intelligence reports suggest the humans have been preparing for war longer than we thought. Every colony appears to be a hidden fortress." Kex Mara studied footage from the battles, watching human farmers fight with the fury of cornered animals. "They fight like they have nothing to lose," he observed. "Every settlement is defended. Every civilian is a warrior." What the Coalition couldn't understand was that humanity had learned from 5,000 years of warfare on their home planet. Earth's children grew up hearing stories of Spartans at Thermopylae, of citizen soldiers defending their homeland against impossible odds. When the aliens threatened their new homes among the stars, those ancient lessons came flooding back. In hidden facilities across human space, weapons production increased. Ships emerged from concealed shipyards. The galaxy was about to learn that humans were most dangerous when they were protecting their families. The war had begun, and humanity intended to win it. Captain Isolde floated silently in the command chair of the stealth destroyer Seoul's Vengeance, watching the swirling colors of the Kepler Nebula through her ship's reinforced windows. The cosmic cloud stretched for light years in every direction, its gases glowing purple and gold from the radiation of nearby stars. It was beautiful, but more importantly, it was the perfect hunting ground. 6 weeks had passed since the Coalition's failed invasion attempts, and the war had taken an unexpected turn. Instead of defending their colonies, human fleets had gone on the attack. They struck like ghosts from the darkness of space, hitting Coalition supply lines and vanishing before reinforcements could arrive. "Captain," whispered Ensign Taemin from the sensor station, his voice barely audible in the ship's hushed atmosphere. "I'm picking up engine signatures bearing 27 Mark IV. It's a big one." Isolde's eyes sharpened as she studied the tactical display. Red dots appeared on the screen, moving slowly through the nebula's interference. 12 massive cargo ships protected by 4 coalition cruisers, their hulls gleaming silver against the cosmic backdrop. "Signal the pack," she ordered quietly. "All ships, prepare for synchronized attack. Remember, we're wolves, not warriors." Around her in the nebula, 5 other human ships received the transmission. The destroyers Busan's Pride and Incheon's Fury moved into flanking positions, while the frigates Daegu's Hope, Ulsan's Wrath, and Gwangju's Shadow spread out to surround the enemy convoy. The coalition ships had no idea death was approaching them from all sides. Iseul had learned to hunt in these nebulae during her years as a deep space explorer before the war. Back then, she mapped safe passages through the electromagnetic storms for civilian ships. Now she used that knowledge to strike at the heart of the alien war machine. "Range to target?" she asked her weapons officer, Lieutenant Junho. 8,000 kilometers and closing. Their sensors can't penetrate the nebula interference beyond 5,000 meters. The coalition convoy moved in perfect formation, just as their military manuals dictated. The escort cruisers maintained precise spacing around the cargo ships, their crews confident that no enemy could approach undetected through the nebula's chaotic energy fields. They were wrong. Human ships had been modified specifically for this kind of warfare. Where alien vessels relied on powerful sensors and energy shields, human craft used stealth technology and adaptive armor. The Soul's Vengeance looked like a piece of space debris on coalition scanners, if it showed up at all. "All ships report." "Ready," Taemin announced. "Pack formation is complete." Iseul smiled coldly, remembering the hunting stories her grandfather had told her as a child. He had been a soldier in Earth's final wars, and he always said that the best battles were won before the enemy knew they were fighting. "Begin the hunt," she commanded. The human ships emerged from the nebula's swirling chaos like predators materializing from tall grass. Their weapons fired in perfect coordination, targeting the coalition escort's weak points that human intelligence had identified months earlier. The lead coalition cruiser, commanded by Captain Velkaran of the Sirathi Empire, barely had time to register the attack before his ship's shields collapsed under the focused fire. "Enemy contacts!" he screamed into his communicator. Where did they come from? But it was already too late. The Soul's Vengeance's plasma torpedoes punched through the alien vessel's armor like hot knives through butter. Secondary explosions rippled along the cruiser's hull as its ammunition storage detonated. "Direct hit on the command cruiser," Taemin called out excitedly. "Their shields are down." The other coalition escorts tried to respond, but the human attack came from too many directions at once. The Busan's Pride and Incheon's Fury hammered the second cruiser with kinetic rounds, while the smaller frigates targeted the cargo ships. With precision strikes, Lieutenant Hyunjin, piloting the frigate Daegu's Hope, wove his ship between enemy plasma bolts like a dancer avoiding raindrops. His vessel was small and fast, designed for hit-and-run attacks rather than prolonged combat. "This is Hyunjin," he transmitted to the pack. "Cargo Ship 3 is trying to escape, moving to intercept. The alien transport vessel, loaded with weapons and supplies for coalition forces at the front lines, attempted to break away from the convoy. But the human frigates were faster and more maneuverable in the nebula's chaotic environment. Within minutes, the entire convoy was destroyed. 12 valuable supply ships and their escorts became expanding clouds of debris, their cargo lost forever. To the coalition war effort. But this was just one of dozens of similar attacks happening across coalition space. Far away in coalition high command, Admiral Zixthul received increasingly desperate reports from across the theater of operations. The massive alien commander's tentacles writhed in frustration as he studied the tactical displays in his command center. "Sir," reported his aide, a crystalline being from the Nexian Confederacy, "we've lost contact with Supply Fleet Gamma 7. Long-range sensors show debris signatures in the Kepler Nebula." "That's the 4th convoy this week," Zixthul growled, his voice echoing through the chamber's biomechanical walls. "How are these humans moving through our territory undetected?" His intelligence officer, a multi-eyed creature from the Ophidian Collective, consulted his data screens. "Sir, the humans appear to be using the nebulae and asteroid fields as cover. They strike our supply lines and vanish before our patrol fleets can respond." What the coalition couldn't understand was that every peaceful diplomatic meeting with humanity over the past 5 years had been a chance for human intelligence to study alien technology, tactics, and psychology. Commander Byung-hoon of Human. Intelligence had spent years analyzing coalition military doctrine, looking for weaknesses to exploit. They fight by strict rules, he had explained to Admiral Ji-ho months before the war began. Honor codes, formation protocols, predictable response, patterns. They see warfare as a formal duel between equals. Now those observations were paying off. Human raiders struck without warning, ignored the unwritten rules of civilized warfare, and used every dirty trick their species had learned during thousands of years of conflict on Earth. Captain Isul guided her pack out of the nebula, already, planning their next attack. Coalition reinforcements would arrive soon, but the human ships would be long gone by then, hunting new prey in another system. "Next target, Captain?" asked Taemin as he monitored long-range communications. Isul studied. The intelligence reports flowing in from across human space. Communication relays, fuel depots, ammunition stockpiles. The Coalition's war machine depended on a complex network of supply lines that stretched across dozens of star systems. The Vega sector, she decided. Intelligence reports a major fuel depot with minimal defenses. Time to show them that nowhere is safe. As the Soul's Vengeance and her pack jumped to hyperspace, leaving behind only debris and confusion, Admiral Zixthul was beginning to understand the true nature of his enemy. These humans didn't fight like any species the Coalition had ever encountered. They were unpredictable, ruthless, and willing to do whatever it took to protect their homes. The hunters had become the hunted, and the Coalition was learning to fear. The darkness between the stars. Admiral Ji-ho floated in the command center of Taekwondo Station, a massive fortress hidden inside a hollowed-out asteroid in the Kepler belt. The rocky exterior looked like any other space debris, but inside, thousands of humans worked around the clock coordinating the war effort. Holographic displays filled the chamber, showing the positions of every human ship, base and weapon platform across 43 star systems. 3 months of war had changed everything. What began as coalition attacks on human colonies had become a galaxy-wide conflict that neither side could win through conventional means. The aliens had superior numbers and technology, but humans fought with a desperation and creativity that shocked their enemies. "Sir," Captain Soyoung approached Ji-ho's command platform, her face grim with the weight of terrible news. "Long-range sensors have detected the Coalition's main battle fleet. 20,000 ships, Admiral. They're moving directly toward Earth." Ji-ho studied the tactical display as red dots filled the screen like a swarm of angry insects. The largest alien armada in galactic history was approaching humanity's homeworld with one purpose: total annihilation. No more surgical strikes, no more attempts at occupation. The Coalition intended to burn every human world to ash. "Estimated time of arrival?" Ji-ho asked, his voice steady despite the magnitude of the threat. 48 hours, sir. They're using the Proxima Corridor for a direct approach. No deception, no subterfuge. They want us to see them coming." Around the command center, human officers exchanged worried glances. 20,000 ships represented the combined might of 8 alien species, accumulated over centuries of galactic conquest. Even humanity's hidden fleets couldn't match those numbers in direct combat. But Ji-ho smiled coldly. He had been preparing for this moment since the war began. "Signal all deep space assets," he commanded. "Activate every sleeper cell from here to the outer rim. It's time for Operation Hanbok." Across human space, coded transmissions reached hidden facilities that had been dormant for years. On the mining station Goryeo 7, workers stopped their excavation and revealed massive railgun batteries built into the asteroid's core. The orbital platform Sejong, disguised as a communications relay, dropped its false exterior to expose weapon systems capable of destroying entire fleets. Captain Youngmin commanded one such hidden base, the seemingly peaceful research station Arirang positioned near the Centauri jump point. For 2 years, his team had maintained the illusion of studying cosmic radiation while secretly manufacturing attack drones. "All hands, this is the captain," he announced over the station's intercom. "Operation Hanbok is now active. Launch all." Drone swarms, Show these aliens what we've been building. Thousands of automated fighters erupted from concealed bays throughout the station. Each drone was equipped with AI systems that could outthink organic pilots, guided by quantum computers that calculated attack vectors faster than any alien could react. Deep behind coalition lines, human saboteurs who had spent years establishing false identities struck simultaneously. On the Sirathi homeworld, Engineer Jiwon triggered explosives in the main power grid, plunging entire cities into darkness. At the Nexian fuel depot in the Vega system, Mechanic Sang-woo released nanobots that consumed alien ship hulls from the inside out. But the main battle would be fought at Earth, where humanity had concentrated its most devastating weapons. The Coalition fleet arrived on schedule, their massive ships blotting out the stars as they approached the solar system. Supreme General Kexmara commanded from the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion, a vessel so large it had its own internal gravity and atmosphere. "Begin planetary bombardment," he ordered, his insectoid features twisted with determination. "Sterilize every world. Leave no trace of human civilization." But as the alien fleet entered Earth's outer defense perimeter, they encountered resistance unlike anything they had imagined. Orbital platforms that appeared to be industrial stations suddenly revealed themselves as massive weapon systems. Kinetic bombardment satellites dropped tungsten rods with the force of nuclear weapons, punching through Coalition shields like paper. The battle that followed would be remembered as the most violent conflict in galactic history. 20,000. Alien ships faced not just the human home fleet, but an entire solar system converted into a fortress. Jupiter's moons had been hollowed out and filled with missile launchers. Saturn's rings concealed millions of mines that detonated when alien ships passed through them. Captain Hyansu piloted his fighter squadron through the chaos, weaving between massive capital ships as explosions lit up the vacuum around them. "Dragonflight, stay tight," he called to his pilots. "Target the escort cruisers. Let the big guns handle the battleships." The Coalition forces pressed forward despite horrific losses, their commanders believing that sheer numbers would eventually overwhelm human defenses. But they hadn't counted on humanity's willingness to sacrifice everything for survival. The decisive moment came when Captain Minsu received his final orders aboard the destroyer Incheon's Pride. His ship had taken heavy damage and was venting atmosphere, but its cargo hold contained enough antimatter to destroy a moon. "Sir," his weapons officer reported, "we've lost main engines. Life support is failing." Minsu looked at his crew, young men and women who had followed him through 3 months of desperate warfare. They knew what he was about to ask of them, the guy. "Flagship," he said quietly. "We rammed the flagship." Without hesitation, his crew took their positions. The Incheon's Pride turned toward the massive Coalition command ship, its engines screaming as they pushed the damaged vessel to maximum speed. Plasma bolts from enemy weapons tore through the destroyer's hull, but nothing could stop its final charge. "This is Captain Minsu to all human forces," he transmitted, as his ship approached the Eternal Dominion. "Remember us. Remember Earth. For humanity." The impact vaporized both ships in a flash of pure energy that could be seen from Mars. The explosion took out a dozen nearby Coalition vessels and left a gap in their formation that human forces immediately exploited. Supreme General Kexmara watched in horror as his invincible fleet began to collapse. Human tactics made no sense according to any military doctrine he understood. They sacrificed valuable ships for minimal tactical advantage. They used civilian vessels as weapons. They fought like cornered animals with nothing left to lose. "Sir," his aide reported, "we've lost 60% of our fleet. Recommend immediate withdrawal." For the first time in Coalition history, their forces retreated from a battle they had expected to win easily. The survivors limped back to their home systems, carrying news that would shake the foundations of alien civilization. On Earth, Admiral Jiho watched the enemy fleet disappear into hyperspace. The victory had cost humanity dearly, but they had sent a message that would echo across the galaxy. Humans would never surrender, never bow down, never accept defeat. The Coalition had learned what it meant to fight the children of Earth. Now, it was time to teach them what it meant to lose to them. Admiral Jiho stood among the smoking ruins, of what had once been the most magnificent city in the galaxy. The coalition capital of Zixthara Prime stretched for hundreds of kilometers across the planet's surface, its crystalline spires and floating platforms a testament to thousands of years of alien civilization. Now those same towers lay shattered, their gleaming surfaces blackened by the fires of war. 6 months had passed since the Coalition's ultimatum, and the galaxy had changed forever. What began as an alien attempt to subjugate humanity had ended with the complete collapse of the oldest military alliance in galactic history. The 8-species coalition that had ruled countless worlds for millennia was broken, its fleet scattered to the stars. Behind Jiho, human soldiers moved through the ruined streets, not as conquerors, but as peacekeepers. They carried medical supplies to wounded aliens, helped rescue survivors from collapsed buildings, and maintained order as millions of coalition citizens tried to understand how their invincible empire had fallen so quickly. "Sir," Captain Youngmi approached through the debris, her peacekeeping forces' blue helmets visible among the wreckage. "The broadcast equipment is ready. All galactic frequencies are clear." Jiho nodded, walking toward the makeshift transmission station his engineers had erected in the ruins of the former Coalition Senate building. The irony wasn't lost on him. He would deliver humanity's final message from the same place where alien leaders had voted to destroy every human world. The camera activated, and Jiho's image was transmitted across 1,000 star systems. In the human colonies, families gathered around screens to watch their admiral deliver the words they had fought so hard to hear. On alien worlds, terrified populations listened to learn their fate from the species they had tried to exterminate. "To all species of the former Galactic Coalition," Jiho began, his voice steady and clear, "6 months ago your leaders declared war on humanity. You called us aggressive. You said we were dangerous. You demanded our submission." The camera panned across the devastated cityscape, showing the wreckage of Coalition warships that had fallen from orbit during the final battle. Massive alien dreadnoughts lay broken among the crystal towers, their hulls split open like discarded shells. The sight sent a clear message to anyone watching. This was what happened when you threatened humanity's children. "We came to the stars in peace," Jiho continued, his voice carrying the weight of 6 months of desperate warfare. "We offered friendship to every species we encountered. We shared our culture, our technology, our dreams of a united galaxy where all could prosper together." In the ruins around him, human medics worked alongside alien doctors to treat the wounded. Private Jemin, barely 19 years old, helped an injured Sirathi child whose scales had been burned in the bombing. The reptilian youngster clung to the human soldier, no longer seeing an enemy but a savior. "But when we refused to bow down and accept your authority, you showed your true nature," Jiho's voice hardened. "You massed 10,000 ships at our borders. You invaded our peaceful colonies. You tried to slaughter our families." The transmission switched to footage from the war's major battles. The desperate defense of New Busan, where farmers fought, alien invaders with mining equipment, the hunt through the Kepler Nebula, where human raiders struck like wolves in the darkness, the final battle at Earth, where Captain Minsu sacrificed his life to break the Coalition's seemingly invincible fleet. "You wanted to know what made humans dangerous?" Jiho asked the camera. "It wasn't our weapons or our technology. It was that we never give up. We survived ice ages, plagues, and countless wars on our homeworld. We turned a planet that tried to kill us every day into our launching pad to the stars." Across the galaxy, alien leaders watched the broadcast with a mixture of fear and growing understanding. The humans had done more than defeat them militarily. They had shattered the Coalition's entire worldview. For centuries, the aliens had believed that superior technology and overwhelming numbers guaranteed victory. Humanity had proven them catastrophically wrong. "Now you've learned why our species survived when so many others would have perished," Jiho continued. "We don't just fight for territory or resources, we fight for our children's future. We fight so that no one will ever again threaten those we love." The camera showed human relief workers distributing food and medicine to alien refugees. Millions of Coalition citizens had fled their homeworlds as the war spread, becoming displaced persons in their own galaxy. But instead of abandoning them, human forces provided aid and protection to anyone who needed it. Captain Youngmi stepped into the frame, reporting quietly to Jiho. "Sir, representatives from the Altarian Republic have arrived. They're requesting a formal alliance with humanity. The Nexian Confederacy and the Ophidian Collective are also asking for protection agreements." Jiho nodded, unsurprised by the news. Across human space, former coalition worlds were lining up to request trade agreements, defense pacts, and full membership in humanity's growing alliance. Fear had transformed into respect, and respect was becoming genuine partnership. To those species who wish peace, Jiho addressed the camera again, "We welcome you with open arms. We offer the same friendship we always have, cooperation, mutual defense, and shared prosperity among the stars." He paused, his expression growing stern as he delivered humanity's final warning. "But to those who still believe humans can be conquered, who still dream of forcing us to submit, remember this moment. Remember what happened when you tried to cage the children of Earth. We gave you every chance for peace. We warned you of the consequences. You chose war anyway." The transmission showed the orbital shipyards above Earth, where new vessels rolled off production lines every hour. Human space now bristled with defensive stations, mobile fleets, and monitoring posts that watched every approach route to human territory. "The galaxy is a big place," Jiho concluded. "There's room for all of us to grow, explore, and prosper together. But there is no room for those who choose conquest over coexistence. This war is over, but humanity remembers. We remember who stood with us, and we remember who tried to destroy us." As the broadcast ended, Colonel Minho activated the new human deep space monitoring network. Thousands of sensor stations, hidden throughout the galaxy like invisible guardians, began their eternal watch. Never again would humanity be caught off guard by alien aggression. The coalition was finished, its member species either scattered to the winds or seeking humanity's protection. The galaxy had a new dominant power, but unlike their predecessors, humans offered partnership instead of subjugation. In the end, the aliens learned the most important lesson about humanity. They were most dangerous when they were trying to be peaceful. The species that had survived on a death world for millions of years had brought those survival instincts to the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same. The children of Earth had taken their place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as protectors of all who chose cooperation over conflict. The end.